He got it.
Why couldn't he doink that one?
I don't know.
No doink that time.
He missed it against LSU, and he made it against my Jaguars. I don't like Evan McPherson anymore.
Sorry about that, Dan.
Yeah.
And sorry about last night, because the Bengals do beat the Jags. Entertaining football game if you weren't in Jacksonville. 34-31, the final score, of course. And that was the subplot, because the big story, Dan, the quarterback.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence goes down. It did not look good. When he threw his helmet in disgust, it was like, uh-oh, he knows something terribly wrong has happened. And boy, we got some as good a news as you could hope for today. We're going to talk about it all right here from Sneakers. We're getting ready for Jags Report Live with Jamal Agnew tonight. Yeah!
This is the Action Sports Jags Report Live. Coming to you live from Sneakers. Sponsored by Farrah & Farrah, the exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Starting with Trevor, obviously, it's just a right high ankle sprain. Everything's stable. Everything looks good. And we'll see where he is here in a couple of days.
Well, that's a report from Doug Peterson today about 12:30, and it's a very positive sign for what Dan just mentioned looked awful last night here in Jacksonville. And now we look at, when will Trevor Lawrence be ready to play? We'll talk about that right now from Sneakers in Jax Beach. It's Jags Report Live on a Tuesday edition. We get so used to winning around here,
yeah,
and now we get this solemn atmosphere in Tuesday. I was saying this on social media. I know the game didn't have as much significance, but we were in Foxborough when the Jags felt oh so close, and how we felt, right?
Yeah.
I felt last night had a little bit of that. There was so much build-up, excitement, and it's like how you feel after. It's like gut punch for the city.
It's been a weird year, too. And, again, not all is lost, and we'll get to that. But we got to also purge, right? Can I purge?
Yes, that's right.
And so the Jags
Get on the couch.
The Jags this year, they've teased us a lot. You know what I mean? So we have high expectations in August because we won a playoff game a year ago. So we're pumped up. And we go and we win the opener. Everybody's pumped up. And then we lose to Kansas City in the first big test. And we're like, that's all right. We'll get Houston. And then we lose to Houston, and the skies fall. Then we rip off 5 in a row. We're back. We're the best team in the NFL. Watch out for us. And then we lay an egg against the 49ers. They bring us back to earth. And then we win 2 in a row in the division with a thrilling win at Houston. Pumped up again, and we're going to get the number 1 seed. And then Cincinnati happens last night, and they bring us back down. It's like every time we're right there at the cusp, we go back a little bit.
Yeah. Show's over right there.
That's it.
How's it finish?
That's a great question. I have a theory on that, but I'll get to that later.
All right. Well, here is the latest on Trevor Lawrence, and we have a good idea that it will finish with Trevor Lawrence. It's not season ending.
Yeah.
It won't need surgery. There's no structural damage. These are all good things. Now, high ankle sprains, as many of you know, are not easy, especially when you're trying to be an athlete at the highest of levels. So when will Trevor Lawrence be back? No timetable from Doug Peterson, of course, but this will be something we now monitor. And Trevor is scheduled to meet with the media tomorrow.
Good sign.
The word is he's going to try like heck to be ready for Sunday. We just don't know if that will happen.
I think just because it's where it is and in the ankle, that it's not necessarily something that surgery would be warranted at this time.
All right, so it wasn't just Trevor, though. And look, the Jags have been relatively injury-free here for about a year and a half since Doug came.
Been very fortunate.
But, boy, last night in the first 5 minutes, we had 3 guys down. Andre Sisco's not on that list. He went back in, thank goodness. But, man, Kirk looks like the most severe. Walker Little looks like he may miss time. I don't think Fadakasi's too severe. Herndon was loopy, man. He had a concussion, so who knows. And Tyson Campbell's been battling. He wasn't the same last night, obviously. You could tell he's battling. And then he got hurt again, probably because that hamstring has plagued him the whole season, Brent.
It's time for the game plan. Sponsored by Everbank. Advantage you. Make the most of your money at everbank.com/Jaguars.
All right, so an interesting game plan, right? How do you get guys back healthy? How do you navigate the last 5 games? Dan, I think you want to win 3 to punch your ticket, no doubt, to the postseason. You win just 2, it muddies things up with tiebreakers and everything else. There are wins in there, including on Sunday against the Browns, but they are going to have to bounce back and play a lot better.
Well, they are. And listen, the next 2 are really tough. The number 1 and number 2 defense in the National Football League. And if we're honest, Trevor probably won't play in the next 2. And then if you could get him back for the last 3, you win a couple. You got to get to 10 wins. You get to 10 wins, you get in the playoffs, you get healthy. Week 19 is the week that really matters because that's when the tournament starts. And I think the Jags will be a tremendously dangerous out in the postseason. But the focus now has to be on finding a way to get some W's, make sure you get into the playoffs, and get healthy.
Well, the next man up is C.J. Beathard if Trevor Lawrence can't go. And they're not going to think like you're thinking. They've got confidence
for sure
in C.J. Beathard. He's 30 years old. He's been around this thing a while, drafted by the Niners. Last start, though, in 2020. He's thrown like 24 passes in the last 3 years. But you know what? He was 9 of 10 last night, and I thought he did a heck of a job to give the Jaguars a chance to win that football game. The rest of the locker room will believe in 3 if that's the case.
Every ounce of confidence in the world. The way he stepped up and didn't blink, was himself, was calm in the huddle, got us in the right spots, drove us down the field. We'll have a week of preparation, whatever Trevor they say about Trevor, but all the confidence in the world with CJ.
I mean, it's difficult to be a backup quarterback. You got to mentally prepare all week and not get all the reps. And most of the times you don't get the opportunity to go in. So to step in and to execute, to do his job, you got to give him some credit for that.
Well, we give this guy a lot of credit as well as he's back at Sneakers in Jax Beach, and that is Jamal Agnew, Jaguars wide receiver, punt return man.
It's like a talk show now.
Yeah, it is.
We bring them out, we say hello, and
that's how we do this.
It's kind of neat. I like that. How you doing, Jamal?
Doing good.
No producing. This is reality TV.
That was
right
good
here.
stuff. I mean, yeah.
Good to have you on, man. All right, how you feeling?
I'm feeling
you
pretty
feel
good.
better than no? We'll get to the shoulder in a minute. I'm talking about how's your emotions after last night.
I mean, it's tough, being on the sideline for a game like that. I mean, that was a really good team. Obviously, the record says otherwise right now, but that's a really good team. Obviously, missing their quarterback, but just not to be able to be out there and make an impact on the game. I feel like we could have used a couple spark plays. It's just hard watching from the sideline. I mean, you feel helpless especially when seeing Kirk go down. It's tough, man.
So you look at, on paper, the Jags are a better football team. They got a backup quarterback, but more than as well as anyone, the NFL is all about opportunity.
Yeah.
And Jake Browning had unbelievable success in high school. He threw 91 touchdowns as a senior. Mm-hmm. He was unbelievable at Washington, one of the winningest quarterbacks in their school's history.
Yeah.
But he's not gotten the opportunity. He got the opportunity last night. In the NFL, you get the opportunity. You must take advantage. He did.
It's crazy you just brought up his high school stats because I went to college with a lot of guys from Northern California who went to school or played against him, and I always used to hear stories about how Jake Browning threw for 90 touchdowns, this, that.
In a year.
So I knew that, but I mean, he took full advantage of the opportunity. Yeah. He played lights out last night.
Yeah, he absolutely did. All right, let's get to the injury report all across the board. You're on IR, set to come off pretty soon. How are you feeling with the shoulder?
I mean, I'm feeling real good. I think I'm progressing in the right direction. It's all about getting back into football shape. You don't realize how fast you lose that when, you're out for a week or two. And that football shape is different than just running straight line for a couple weeks. You got to get used to, long drives, changing direction, on a dime, play in, play out. So it's just trying to get back into football shape. And
when are you eligible to play again? Are you eligible to play this week, or is it still another week or two away? Do you know?
I believe I'm eligible to return Baltimore at the earliest.
At the earliest.
Yeah,
okay.
they have the little practice activation window.
Yeah, the 21-day window.
Yeah, I'm not super versed into that, but
right.
I think Baltimore may be the first game I can come back.
Okay. What have you been doing? Just rehabbing? I mean, how do you stay busy? It's a tough time when you're hurt, right? You just mentioned it. It's tough from the sideline, but even day to day, isn't it?
Trying to I obviously been rehabbing and working out, trying to get my body back. Also just try to be there for the guys mentally, morally, just, bring the energy up. Obviously we had a tough loss last night, but I mean, we've been playing really well, as a team, obviously. Just trying to be present for those guys. I'm usually in rehab when everybody's out there practicing and, meetings and stuff. So it's kind of hard to, find the time to, be around the guys all the time. But, I mean, just trying to be there for them.
You're going to have a lot more guys in the training room with you now, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But you'll get to spend some time. But you're watching the game. Trevor goes down. I mean, when you watch him and how it happens, what's running through your mind?
I'm honestly just really grateful that it wasn't as bad as it looked.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I think we mentioned earlier how, the one in Detroit looked really bad as well, and it wasn't as bad as, it looked.
He's rubbery, man.
Thankfully, that dude is flexible. It's crazy.
Telling you.
I told him that today, but thankfully it's not as bad as it looked, and, it just sucks just knowing the competitor he is and, how he prepares to win, and, it just sucks seeing him like that.
And he was really starting to play excellent football, maybe some of the best football of his career. Yeah. You saw him today. How were his spirits? Because that's part of it. You got to mess with that. It beats you up mentally, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's obviously down, but he's one of those guys. He doesn't want you guys to see him like that. Like he's staying strong, positive. I mean, it's obviously just tough for him because he's been playing really well, and he's a leader of our team, and just sucks seeing him go down like that.
And then you watch your colleague and partner Christian Kirk go down on the first play. That was an odd injury. It did not look like it was severe at all, except for by his reaction. But I still can't quite understand how it happened. But it looks like he's going to be gone for some time.
Yeah.
Thoughts about that as you watch that happen?
That one was probably equally as tough. Christian's not the most vocal person,
right?
But he just leads by example.
Yeah.
And you don't realize, how important those type of guys are to your team, because there's a lot of guys who just follow his lead, and he doesn't say anything. He's not one of those rah-rah guys. He just puts his head down. He just goes to work. And that was really tough to see him stay down like that, just because he's probably one of the toughest dudes I've ever met. I mean, he's played through so many injuries. He's played through. He plays a lot of snaps every game.
Yeah.
He's running a lot of deep routes every game. He just runs right back to the huddle, and it's just, just the way he works day in, day out, it just sucks seeing that.
By the way, the cart was available for both Trevor and Kirk. They turned it down.
Yeah.
I know that's become a national story a little bit, but it's important to players to walk off the field and not get on that cart, and I think you saw that with Kirk and Trevor. I do have a question about Kirk. He does so much, and that I don't know if everybody sees what he does in your offense. Will it change the offense?
I don't necessarily think it's going to change the offense. We're who we are. We're going to do what we do. Obviously, losing somebody like Chris is not just going to take one person to just replace him. It's going to take a collective of guys like myself whenever I get back. Parker, who was balling last night.
Yeah.
Tim Jones. We got other guys on the roster right now. So we can't replace Kirk with just one person. It's going to be a group of us, trying to replace what he does.
And there'll be a lot of guys missing on Sunday, but we'll assume for this part that C.J. Beathard does play. What do you like about C.J.? He's got some experience, okay, so he's not going to be – there's not going to be a situation that he's going to be wide-eyed and, he'll go out there and he'll try to do his job. What do you see in C.J. Beathard as a backup quarterback?
We've said it for the last few years. C.J. is a gamer.
Yeah.
C.J. is a gamer. The guys, Evan and Zay, they said it themselves. Like, we got all the faith in the world in C.J. The way he prepares every day in practice. He doesn't get all the reps that Trevor gets, but he prepares every day like he's a starter. And it'll be a lot of times we're in meetings. We all meet as an offense together, watch film. And, C.J. is always speaking up like this route should be like this, yada, yada. C.J.'s pretty vocal in there, and, he's going to sling the ball. We know that. And, he played really well last night.
Yeah.
If it weren't for that
old, allegedly,
that call last night, I'm not going to speak on that. But he made a heck of a play.
An odd time to call it.
Yeah. By the way,
I'll speak on it. It stunk.
Hey, he was 9 of 10 throwing the football last night. He really was effective putting the Jags in.
They got down to. You get down to the 20-yard line. You got 42 seconds. It's 2nd and 2, and in my mind, I'm like, win it now.
Yeah.
Win it. Don't go to overtime. Win this thing now. They tried. He had a couple scrambles, but he just couldn't shake free. So now you got 4th and 4. You got to kick. But golly, that was tight.
So many plays in that football game last night. We could give the power play to the medical staff.
Yeah.
But instead, we'll go to the guy that should be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year now.
Power Play of the Week, sponsored by IBEW Local 177, powering Jacksonville since 1912.
What else you want us to say? I mean, this guy's unbelievable. A sack and a half more for Josh Allen, an interception. And seriously, he's not in consideration right now for Defensive Player of the Year if you kind of read everything or you look at the odds.
Did you see that play? Jamal, I think he made himself invisible on that play.
He almost dropped it. I would have been mad at him. I would have been mad at him for that. He's dropping money right there. But, I mean, Josh is unbelievable. I mean, I told you guys when I spent some time with him in London this past offseason, he was poised for this. I mean, this was all he could think about was just playing at an elite level all year, consistently every game. And I feel like he's done that, and he's a big part of this, the reason why we're so successful right now.
Yeah. He is a dominant player in the National Football League, and that is a hard thing to do. That makes you about as elite as you can get, and it's going to make him very rich in a couple of months. We're going to take a break on Jags Report Live. We're live at Sneakers in Jax Beach, and when we come back, listen, I know there's a lot of negative stuff off last night. That's the way this league works, and that's the way the ebbs and flows and the emotions. But this guy's been awesome, too.
He was great last night.
Yeah. And that encounter with the fans, we visit with the fans coming up on Jags Report Live. We're live at Sneakers in Jax Beach. Good to have Jamal Agnew out here in December. Hey, still 5 games to go and everything right in front. The Jags are still in first place in the AFC South.
This is the Action Sports Jags Report Live. Coming to you live from Sneakers. Sponsored by Farrah & Farrah, the exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars.
I think it's very surprising. I thought we didn't come out with great energy, but we started to respond at some point, and we didn't finish. We didn't execute well at all.
Listen, defense has been fantastic a lot of the year.
Yeah.
It was not last night. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. They did not perform well against Jake Browning and the Bengals, who had their way. More on that in a moment. Hey, you're taking a look in Jax Beach. Deck the Chairs, always a annual event and a fun one on a beautiful, nice little chill in the air December evening in Jacksonville. Go check it out and then stop by Sneakers. And on Mondays, you can come see us on Jags Report Live, special Tuesday edition with Monday Night Football. Brent Martineau, Dan Hicken, Jaguars wide receiver, punt returner, kick returner, Jamal Agnew. And, well, I know you don't play the defensive side of the ball, so we'll talk about this one, Jamal. Dan, we didn't see it coming. I mean, 32 of 37 for Jake Browning. I just would have never dreamed that up.
Well, Jamal said he heard the stories of the legend of high school, but high school's a long way to the NFL. This guy paid his dues, got an opportunity, took advantage of it. But my gosh, one of 10 quarterbacks in history to complete 85% of your passes and throw for more than 350 yards in one game. Unitas, Brady, Manning were some of the names on the list. I mean, it was an unbelievable. Look, there was a guy here years ago named Rob Johnson who had a game like that, and that game got the Jaguars a first-round pick that turned into Fred Taylor. Jake, this guy just proved that he's going to get a shot to play the position somewhere.
Yeah, you said it, the opportunity. He took advantage of that opportunity. You played the offensive side of the ball a lot, too, though. Sometimes game plans just work.
Yeah.
Their game plans seem to work.
Yeah, they were making plays out there, I feel like. I mean, like I said, Jake Browning took a full advantage of the opportunity. They made some good plays out there. Jamar Chase was making some crazy catches. He had like a one-handed catch on the sideline. He had that bobble one in the middle, late in the game.
Late in the game,
I mean, those guys are making plays, and I feel like a lot of people are knocking our defense right now. They've carried us a lot this season, and we haven't lost faith in them. There's none of that in the building right now. We know who they are. We know who they can be, and it was just like when we were struggling on offense. They knew who we could be, and they held it down until we got right, and we're just going to hold it down until they get right.
There's a belief that they will bounce back.
Yeah.
We caught up with them last night after the game.
Communication is a big part. Winning first, second down, getting the third down, but when we're all clean and doing what we're supposed to do, I know we can play way better than that. So obviously, got to get back to the drawing board, maybe own our calls and play better.
It's all about how we respond to this. Obviously, we just lost this game, so it definitely hurts. We hate losing at home, first and foremost, man. We have to get better. We have to figure that out. But like I said, man, it's a quick turnaround. And if we all get better on our areas of improvement, we'll be good.
The drive of the day, driven by your local Ford dealers.
Well, listen, the Jaguars answered a drive, and Evan Engram finally found the end zone.
Yeah.
This guy's been unbelievable, Dan. 9 catches on 9 targets. He now has 73 catches on the season. That equals last year. There's still 5 games to go.
Wow. I was talking with Jamal. The blocking on the first drive was fantastic. Great block on the Ridley end around, great block on the ETN touchdown. You said he's a better blocker than people give him credit for, but his offensive numbers are terrific.
I know. Obviously, he's doing a lot in the passing game, but a lot of people don't realize what he does for us in the run game. I mean, he does a lot of the dirty work.
Yeah.
And there'll be some times where, you know, Trevor will feel like we're going to get some pressure, and they keep him in for protection. He's just one of those selfless guys who's willing to do stuff like that.
I love the way he prepares. Like, before the games, he's always out there with the tennis ball or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes through a process, and he's out there he reminds me a little bit of Pusluzny in the way he used to prepare before the games. I like that. You got to respect how he's a true pro, I guess. Yeah.
He wasn't going to be denied the end zone either. He was going to leap in from the 10-yard line since it broke like a 15-game streak of not entering the end zone in the regular season. We'll call it the Duval dive after that. And Action Sports Jack's Olivia Tasley caught up with the fans. They caught Evan.
Monday Night Football returns to the bank for the first time since 2011, and Evan Engram finds the end zone for his first touchdown of the season, and his celebration involved a couple of lucky fans.
Engram looking for blocks, getting blocks, and his first touchdown of the year.
Man, that was great. Evan Engram he came up here, jumped up here. That was the best experience of my life. You know what I'm saying? He came up here, we celebrated. It was great. I love Evan Engram. I love Trevor Lawrence. I love all the Jaguars. Greatest team in America. My favorite team ever. Go Jaguars, baby. Let's go.
Did you guys say anything to him when he was up here?
I gave him a hug. We gave him a big hug. Pat him on the back.
The next time the Jacksonville Jaguars return to the bank, it will be once again under the lights, this time on Sunday night as the Ravens come to town. We'll see if another Jag makes it into the stands. At Everbank Stadium, I'm Olivia Tasley, Action Sports Jax.
It was fun, and hey, it's fun.
Santa! I know him!
Hey, all I want for Christmas is what? Jags playoff berth. That's
Amen. I'm sorry, I got excited.
Yeah, you did get excited.
Mr. Claus.
Sunshine and Rainbows might be a tough one today, but we'll figure it out.
You got some work to do.
Yeah, I got some work to do. Now, don't worry. Come on, don't be so doom and gloom around here. We'll be back.
This is the Action Sports Jags Report Live, coming to you live from Sneakers, sponsored by Farah and Farah, the exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars.
There he is. Oh.
Didn't you say you know?
I hope DJ's been nice. He's a little naughty. I think he's from Ohio, and he may like the team in the stripes. So I don't know. I don't know what he's asking for, but I may intercede on that.
Yeah, DJ's helping us out here on the show tonight, helping out Jamal with the water. Sunshine and Rainbows, listen.
What do you got?
I got this covered.
Okay.
It's for the fans, man.
That was cool. That was cool.
It was electric last night.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
Duval
cool.
did its part.
Yeah.
The Jags fans were fired up. They don't always work out at sports. I mean, it was an entertaining game. Just didn't go the way anybody predicted it would go.
Yeah.
And obviously the injuries kind of marred it. But the bottom line is the Jaguars and Jacksonville, Monday Night Football, they'll be back.
Mm-hmm. It was a great game. You know, if you didn't,
yes,
if you didn't have a dog in the fight, you know, it's a fun game to watch. I mean, for us, it stunk because of the outcome at the end. But just watching the game as an observer, it'd be great. Be great.
Both actually games in primetime this year. 31-24 over New Orleans. That was an entertaining game.
Came down to the end too.
Yeah, that was a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I mean, last night I didn't get the opportunity to watch it on TV yet.
Yeah.
I like to do that sometimes, to just go back, record it.
I was watching it this afternoon.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure it was a very entertaining game. Obviously, we wish we, pulled out and finished right there, but I mean, that was a really good team, and a team that the AFC has been going through for the last couple years. So, I mean, they played hard.
Hey, you've got a lot of cool guys in the locker room. DeJuan Smoot might be on that list as well. In fact, he definitely is. And today, recognized as the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee award. So pretty cool. All these different awards around the National Football League. This guy's been around Jacksonville for a long time. Nice story, too, and well-earned.
Yeah, no, well-earned for sure. I mean, Smoot is he's like a big teddy bear. I mean, but when he gets on that field, he's obviously an animal, but I mean, congrats to him. He does a lot in the community. He's obviously, like you said, he's been here for, 6, 7 years now. And then obviously has a crazy story with his wife's pregnancy and everything.
Yes.
So
yes,
that's pretty cool right there. But
yeah, he's underrated. Underrated player.
Oh, yeah.
Here in Jacksonville has been DeJuan Smoot. Mike calls Mike Cleats last night. How much do you appreciate the platform to be able to do that? Did you get to participate even though you didn't play?
I didn't get to participate just because I wasn't playing. I mean, they gave me the opportunity, but I mean, it's kind of not the same when you're not playing. You don't get to rock the cleats or anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, the league gives us a little leeway with the color schemes and stuff. So, a lot of people like that part. But it's cool to, represent things you're really passionate about and, really important causes that don't get the awareness.
It's a great platform for so many different organizations. That's the big thing, awareness for so many different organizations.
Really is. Now, listen, we need you to get healthy for the stretch run.
Yeah.
All right? So take your time. All right? Come back. I got a little plan here. We're going to get into the postseason, get everybody healthy, and ain't nobody going to want to play the Jaguars in the postseason. So you guys know how to do it. You know how to win in the postseason. Had that experience last year. So let's just get healthy, get a couple more wins coming in, and see where we stack up.
Yeah, we definitely got to handle business. It's a week-to-week business. I know Doug and them say that all the time, but I mean that's what it is at the end of the year right here. What matters is winning in the playoff time. So we just got to keep stacking days. We got to just keep getting healthier and healthier. Obviously the guys who are out, it's unfortunate, but it's that next man up mentality.
Man up, yeah.
All right, Dan, you going to guarantee a punt return touchdown when he comes back?
I will, Garrett. Listen, he's helped us win a couple games this year because of those punt returns, and kick returns. So we need a healthy Jamal Agnew out there. Plus, he really, I don't want to jinx you, but I don't think I've ever seen you drop a punt, and it makes me nervous sometimes watching the young guys catch them.
It's all good, man. I mean, when I was a young guy, I think I dropped a few. So
we're going to ask you about that young guy in just a little bit, but we say goodbye for now to Jamal Agnew. He's always been a friend of the show, and hopefully gets healthy, back maybe for that Sunday night primetime game against the Baltimore Ravens. But next week it's the Cleveland Browns. Well, they're on quarterback like number 4.
Jeez.
They're good defense. We'll preview that game when we come back from Sneakers in Jax Beach and deck the chairs on a beautiful night here in Jacksonville as well.
This is the Action Sports Jags Report Live, coming to you live from Sneakers, sponsored by Farrah & Farrah, the exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Left, man, and we gotta handle business. But I'm not gonna say we gotta scratch this one because this one hurt. Got a quick turnaround, and we gotta get ready for Cleveland.
Yeah, I got a lot of confidence in this Jags team. First of all, I think they're a pretty good football team.
Yeah.
But secondly, they answer the bell. They bounce back. They've just shown that ability under Doug Peterson, and I think they will again on Sunday, quite frankly. We're back at Sneakers in Jax Beach. We're live on Jags Report Live. Jamal Agnew hanging out with us as well on a Tuesday. Usually, obviously, Monday shows, but we had that Monday night football game in Jacksonville. Brent Martineau, Dan Hicken, and off to Cleveland, Ohio we go in December, which usually can be tricky, but maybe not so much this week.
Maybe a little rainy, but
50
in
degrees?
the 50s, that'd be fine. Listen, but Cleveland's played well at home. They've won with 3 different quarterbacks. They might get Joe Flacco. You might get Dorian Thompson-Robinson. You might get P.J. Walker. Might get Bernie Kosar. I don't know who's playing quarterback for the Browns, but I do know this. The Jags got I'm going to call it a one-week aberration. Cincinnati ran for 156 last night. That it can't happen again.
Your keys to the game, sponsored by Greenway Kia.
Well, here we go. We can do this pretty quick. Get the QB ready. I don't know if that's Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if that's CJ
Whoever
Beathard.
it is, got to be ready.
They got to be ready. And they've got to be more physical. You just mentioned it. The Browns are a physical football team in the trenches. The Jags have to match that.
I talked to Tony Baselli after the game, and the one thing that Tony tells us, man, if Tony Baselli's criticizing the O-line, then the O-line's got to play better. And in his words, they don't move people. We got to move people a little bit.
Yeah, and you can't do anything about it now. You just got to play better. Defense has to play better as well. We think that was a one-off, hopefully. They bounce back. You kind of expect that they will. Let's bring in Jamal Agnew once again as he's taking some pictures and signing some autographs. You brought up Parker Washington earlier, the rookie out of Penn State. He had an interesting game, by the way. Dropped the punt, recovered a fumble. There were some lineup things, but he made a heck of a catch, had 6 catches, and I thought he did a heck of a job stepping in on short notice for Kirk. What did you think, Jamal?
I mean, Parker had a really good game last night. Obviously, he had the little knee injury earlier in the year. It kind of bummed him out. I mean, it was his first game active. He got hurt, and, he was a little bummed out for a little bit. But, he always talked about getting this opportunity, and the opportunity finally presented itself, and he made the most out of it like he said he would. And Parker's one of the quietest dudes you'll be around, but I mean Parker's he's a baller. So we're all happy for him. He did a little celebration. We're doing that all training camp. So we're just happy for him.
Jamal, one more thing for me. The NFL, all of a sudden, every time I look up, I'm seeing some sort of crazy trick play. We saw some of those last night on the Cincinnati side. This one, if the Bengals had lost, their coach would have been roasted for it. But sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but sometimes they're not needed. What are your thoughts about trick plays? And I'm sure you have a few in your bag.
I mean, I feel like every team in the league, every offense, throws a couple trick plays in there just to keep, defenses honest.
Sure.
Especially this year, defenses are playing, so much better, so much more consistent this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that trick play last night was pretty crazy. Josh obviously took advantage of it, made that play. Everybody's telling me he should have scored. I mean, it's kind of tough though. But I mean, trick plays are always going to be a part of the game. Just sometimes they don't go as planned.
Jamal Agnew, thanks, man. Thanks for hanging out with us and being here at Sneakers in Jax Beach. As a kid, they used to do the flea flicker once in a while. It always worked. It was like a 50-yard bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're doing flea flickers and throwing screens off them.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
The defenses are really good.
Yeah.
And they're ready for plays all the time. Hey, when we come back, we're ready for food. We go to the bar.
All right.
What are we ordering up tonight? What's on the menu when we come back? Here on Jags Report Live at Sneakers in Jax Beach. Always good to have Jamal out. He's been hanging out a couple of years with us now. He's a regular.
This is the Action Sports Jags Report Live. Coming to you live from Sneakers. Sponsored by Farrah & Farrah, the exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Beautiful things always next week. It's really must-win mentality all the time. So, good Cleveland team are about to go face. We got to right our wrongs, get back in the win column.
Well, next man up mentality for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to really have to buy into that. Hey, it's opportunity for a lot of guys, but when you play young guys, you also make young guy mistakes sometimes, and it's not the time of year to do it. Jaguars will have to survive that. Dan, what you got cooking tonight? What's on the menu here at Sneakers in Jax Beach?
We got
Jags
a little
Report
salad.
Live. Well, they're probably looking at us being like, well, those guys are getting into fat ball season. We might need a little salad.
Guys. I mean,
after that dessert a couple of weeks ago, that's why.
You can't eat. Yeah, you need a little fork there if you're going to do that. Have a little piece of chicken and dip that in there.
Grilled chicken, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
You're still hungry because we missed because we had countdown to kickoff last night. We missed the pregame meal. So Brent Martineau, Dan Hicken, back here at Sneakers in Jax Beach. I already had the chili today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I already ate once. I'll probably eat again. All right, what's on the menu?
Well, the AFC South.
Can they win it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Will they win it?
I think so. I think the next two games are tough. And I think what happens is we as a fan base lose sight of the guys that are going to be down for the next 2 weeks, all right? Baltimore, if we don't have Trevor, really tough game, right? Cleveland, really tough game.
It'll be a tough
there.
game with Trevor.
Absolutely. So even if you happen to stub your toe and lose the next two, don't panic. You're 8-6. Somebody may pass you, but you got Tampa on Christmas Eve. You got Carolina. You got Tennessee. Those are games that you can win, and yes, I still think you can win the division.
All right, we take a look at some of the elite teams in the AFC, and that number 1 seed was on the line. Jags went from being a 1 seed. They were really a 3 seed going in.
Yeah.
They could have been a 1 seed with a win.
Right.
And they end up with the 4 seed right now.
Right.
Who will be the 1 seed in the AFC?
That's a great question.
Not the Jags, we don't feel like right now.
No, and I'm tired of talking about them as a 1 seed. Let's just get in the postseason. That's where I am with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Does Kansas City still get it, or Baltimore? Or does Miami? I haven't looked at Miami's schedule. If they don't play teams with winning record, they tend to do well.
Very good.
So
they do play the Ravens and the Bills still.
Okay, so they get them out. Baltimore or Kansas City?
Baltimore is probably the toughest schedule left, so that will be interesting. All right, the Jags have a quarterback issue right now because of Trevor. C.J. Beathard, backup quarterback, a lot of confidence in him. He's been around. They pay him pretty good money to be a backup, so they believe in him.
Right.
Nick Foles is on the street.
He does know Doug. Do you think Doug woke him up like, I'm guessing he's out in Arizona. I don't know where he lives. Wakes him up and says, hey, Nick, this is Doug. What are you doing? Coach? Yeah, come on down to Jacksonville. We'll get you a statue down here, too. I doubt it. I think they're comfortable with C.J. Beathard.
I do too, and I think the reason why you don't even think you need it now is because everything checked out pretty well on Trevor Lawrence, so you think he's coming back. If he wasn't coming back, you'd start to wonder where else they could go.
You know, the NFL is a week-to-week league, but right now, as we stand in early December with a lot of football left, it's clear that there is a best team. And that best team is out west. Ooh. San Francisco they annihilated Philadelphia in Philly. They are a tough team when healthy. Can they stay healthy?
They're number one, and then the next team's like number 4.
I think so.
I think it probably feels that way.
Yeah.
You're right. If they stay healthy, I don't know if people can figure them out. They've got a toughness. They've got an explosiveness. Mm-hmm. They know what they're doing. They're well coached. Everything's clicking. But can you be doing that in January, late January into February? That's a tricky thing to win it all, but they certainly are the favorites for good reason right now. Hey, we're going to take a break from Sneakers in Jax Beach.
Okay. You want some of this? Or?
Yeah, I'll probably have a bite.
All right.
When we come back, of course, more on the Jaguars defense, but we do have a new tackle leader in the NFL, and you might know his name.
Oh.
That's on the way here on Fox 30 on a Tuesday short week. Eat up. We'll be in Cleveland on Sunday.
Cleveland!
This is the Action Sports Jags Report Live. Coming to you live from Sneakers. Sponsored by Farrah & Farrah, the exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars.
You know, we were in a close ball game, opportunity to win the football game. He did a nice job getting us down there for the tying field goal, obviously, and really, did some good things, while he was in there. So still a lot of confidence there, and didn't think the guys, wavered, one bit.
Yeah, it's Doug Peterson on C.J. Beathard. Again, thought it was pretty good. Gave the Jags a chance. That would have been something if they pulled that out, even with all the adversity in that game. Just wasn't meant to be. We had some cool finishes down the stretch. They made some big plays the last couple of years, not last night. Jamal Agnew still hanging out here at Sneakers in Jax Beach. Good to have the folks out here on a Tuesday in December. Jags still have a long run to go. We're not going to let this squash everything here. It's not over in Jacksonville. Still plenty of things ahead, but they do have to figure out the defense. The defense has been very good this year, but they've also had 3 stinkers: Houston, San Francisco, and then last night.
Yeah.
And this time of year, they're going to need them. It was a year ago yesterday. They gave up 40 against the Detroit Lions, didn't force a punt. Yesterday, they forced only 1 punt. Since that game in Detroit, the rest of the year, they've really played well defensively. Maybe this one triggers a good finish on defense.
First things first, lesson learned, don't ever play on December 4th again.
I guess so.
Because we got Trevor twice now. That's not a good day for him. I think it's an aberration. I really do, especially they have done so well at stopping the run.
Yeah, that was weird.
And Cincinnati was terrible at running the ball. Tell you what, Chase Brown, young guy from Illinois, was terrific last night. 60 yards rushing. I think he was a 5th-round pick, so didn't like seeing that. That was impressive. But Jags will figure that part out. That the interior of the defensive line didn't seem to have a great game last night. Again, Josh Allen, terrific football. And even our tackle tracker guy was not at his very best, I didn't think, last night.
Your Tackle Tracker, sponsored by IHRS, tackling hair loss.
Well, that guy you're talking about is Foye Oluokun. Yeah. He now claims the #1 spot in the lead when it comes to tackles.
I love him, but yeah.
I mean, he maybe he had a little bit of an off game. I think it might have been everybody around him having off games, and that throws you off. But look at the stats now. Oluokun in first. He was like 4th, and he jumped everybody.
Good for him.
So he could lead the league in tackles for a 3rd straight year if he finishes strong. I thought the guy that struggled a little bit yesterday was the guy next to him who's played good ball, and that's Devin Lloyd. It looked like he got lost on some plays.
He did. And Tyson Campbell's not 100%. Then Cisco got dinged up. I mean, we can go down the line. I don't think we got much of a push in the interior. I mean, Fatukasi got hurt. I don't think Roy Robertson-Harris had his best game. I mean, you don't sit there and watch every play, but the defensive line just did not. I mean, the kid had time to throw last night. I mean, if Josh Allen wasn't getting close, nobody else was.
The word I've used a lot today is inconsistency. You're talking about a lot of players that have been really good and then down. I mean, even Rayshon Jenkins had a tough game.
Yeah, had a terrible whiff on a guy over the middle. That's a kill shot for him that he normally takes, and he just missed him.
Well, the fans, we already highlighted this. They really came to play last night. They were excited about this game. And how about the light show?
It was cool.
Listen, Jags put on a heck of a performance with the fans, the game day prep, everybody jacked up, entertaining football game for the world to watch. and just didn't get the W. I mean, it was a W in less injuries away from
Grinch was having a good time.
An awesome night. I mean, we're so close to being an awesome night. I mean, look at that crowd.
I can't get past 4 losses at home. It's just
a weird
the darndest thing.
And
They're
we ask the guys
on the road.
We ask them all
Nobody
the time.
knows.
What are you supposed to answer that? Like, I don't. You'd fix it if you knew.
Yeah. We're jacked up. The crowd's great. Everybody's ready to go. We love playing here. We just didn't win.
Well, and on top of that, they are undefeated on the road, which is also a little bit inexplicable.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen all the time in the NFL. Hey, when we come back, maybe the dog will brighten your day.
No, it won't. No, I'm over the dog.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're not.
I'm sick of the dog.
Aspen is back.
Okay.
And better than before.
Yeehaw.
We're live at Sneakers in Jax Beach. You're so miserable today. You're like the rest of Jacksonville. You're like Twitter today.
I am. Twitter Dan.
This is the Action Sports Jags Report Live. Coming to you live from Sneakers. Sponsored by Farrah & Farrah, the exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Hey, welcome back to Sneakers in Jax Beach. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's an hour on Jags Report Live. It's Dan's favorite show of the week on Mondays.
These are the real, true, hardcore Jag fans who came out tonight despite the loss, despite the gut punch, despite everything on a Tuesday.
Yeah, Duval back there. There you go.
And hung out with us. We appreciate that.
And that one Cincinnati Bengals fan.
Oh, yeah, DJ. Darn you,
Welcome
DJ.
back, Brent Martineau, Dan Hicken. You know, the Jags missed a lot of opportunities to actually win this game outside of some of the obvious things. We'll get to that in a moment, but first we have to see how Aspen did.
Can't wait.
It's time for Ask Aspen. Sponsored by Subaru of Jacksonville on Atlantic. The right choice for your next vehicle.
Make it a streak? Can we make it a streak? Let's make it a streak, okay? All right, here we go. Make your pick.
Maybe it would have been good with Jake Browning. Could have happened, but it didn't happen. Aspen had no chance there. Maybe Liv should start putting down Jags will kick off. Just to make sure you get one right at.
Much more of Aspen on the hit Jag social show. It's one of the most popular shows at Action News Jax. They do a terrific job. Chandler and Liv, outstanding work.
7:30 on Fox 30 on Friday night. All right, hey, the big story today, obviously, is Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And if you just joined us, if you were away all day, if you haven't seen yet, there's really good news on the Trevor status. It looked awful last night, but the x-rays were negative, and we knew that pretty early last night. The MRI showed the same thing, and Doug Peterson said today it's a high ankle sprain, and he did not even rule him out for Sunday's game. There are players like Kenny Pickett with high ankle sprains having surgery. Trevor's not going to do that option. It speeds up the recovery process. He's not going there.
He doesn't need it, which is good news.
Yeah, so all of this is really good. And the bottom line is the last 2 years, Trevor has avoided major injury.
I'm not going to put that timetable on Trevor. I'm not going to put him in a box like that, but we'll see how he is in a couple of days. The one last night looked worse than it really was. Very fortunate there, but he seems to have a little bit of a knack. Just been fortunate, to not have a serious injury than what they are.
All right, so it's a total team loss, right? There were mistakes everywhere. Like Trevor drops the snap, still makes a throw. Ridley makes a great adjustment, but he just doesn't catch the football. You got to catch that one. You get a field goal at the end of the half. You get the ball, start the second half. Unfortunate there.
Yeah, they messed up that play. And then Brandon McManus has been so good.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder, was he stunned too by the injury of Trevor? Because this was right after that injury, and everybody was like, what is going on? He misses the 48-yard kick. If he makes that one, the one at the end of the game wins it.
And it's tracking like it's going through. It just sort of pushed off to the right in the end. And then the rookie right tackle, who may be playing left tackle this week, we'll see, Anton Harrison. He gets called for a hold on what really would have been a game winner. And it was a great play by C.J. Beathard, quite frankly.
Yeah, they would have had the ball at the 2-yard line.
He didn't understand it. Yeah. She's like, what? Again, it's kind of like a flop move by the defensive ends. They throw their hands in the air like they can't get to him. He's got no chance of getting to the quarterback there.
He really didn't. Sometimes you eat the whistle there, and they didn't on that one. And listen, between the field goal and that, Jags got some breaks, and then they didn't get some breaks in that football game. They end up losing. All right, on to the Cleveland Browns. We'll continue to monitor Trevor Lawrence, of course, as well. And we're back here next Monday. Rayshon Jenkins scheduled to appear on Jags Report Live. For Dan Hicken and Jamal Agnew, the rest of the entire Action Sports Jax crew, I'm Brent Martineau. Thanks for hanging out with us on Fox 30 and here at Sneakers in Jax Beach. Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah! Come on! Let's go!
Thanks for watching the Action Sports Jags Report Live. Coming to you live from Sneakers. Sponsored by Farrah & Farrah, the exclusive injury law firm of the Jaguars.